Hello, my name is Nick Deborah, and in this short video, I want to talk about kind of two options for where we should put key insights in our charts. Really, there's kind of the one that you've probably seen much more often, which is essentially having the key insight as the title of the chart. This is something that I've done a lot in my past work. But another possibility is to instead put key insights as annotations in the chart and have a more kind of generic chart title. And so I want to kind of go through the pros and cons of each, starting with the pros of the more, I guess, common approach, which is that, well, the obvious one is that the reader knows what the key insight is almost immediately, right? It's right there. There's kind of a headline almost like the headline of an article. But I think that's probably really the main kind of pro, which is significant. But there are some downsides, there are some cons as well. Like, the fact that the reader's eye has to kind of jump back and forth between the title and the chart, and they basically have to relate elements of the title to parts of the chart, figure out, okay, what's neck and neck, right? So that's what this says. So what is that? Oh, I see, right. So that's this part here where Boeing and Airbus were neck and neck. Boeing has lost ground to Airbus. So I guess that must be, oh, right. So there's kind of a gap that developed here. And so their eye's going to have to go back and forth a couple of times. Not the end of the world, but it is kind of a cognitive step. And they also, of course, have to read this, right? The y-axis label to see, well, exactly what is this chart showing? Oh, it's annual aircraft deliveries. And so, and that's kind of important, right? Until they read that, they can't really understand what the chart is actually telling them. And then there's this approach where we're putting the insights directly in the chart itself, which I've been doing a little bit more often because I think there are some potential advantages to this. One of them is that, our insight is now directly connected with the relevant parts of the chart, right? I see, once neck and neck, so I don't have to kind of find it in the chart. It's pointing right to it. Boeing lost ground. Yeah, well, like I said, there's kind of a direct connection through these arrows in this case. And so there's no need for my eye to jump back and forth between the chart title and the chart itself. I can just look at the chart. They also, of course, the reader also sees immediately what kind of data this is, right? Annual aircraft deliveries, it's right there in the title. And so right away, that kind of puts the chart into appropriate context. I understand, like, what exactly am I looking at? And in my experience, it's kind of anecdotal. It's not a big deal, but charts with annotations like this, especially if they're obviously annotations, like they're in like a handwritten typeface or in speech bubbles, things like that, they tend to actually get a little bit more attention from audiences. And especially if this chart is going to be in a report or a presentation, a slide deck or a dashboard, anything that has a lot of charts in it, it can make it a little bit easier to find an individual chart if the title of the chart is the actual metric, right? Because if I'm looking for this chart later on, I'm going to go back into a report that I've reviewed and say, oh, where was that chart about, aircraft deliveries? Oh, right, it's right there, right? It's going to be a little bit trickier if the title of the chart is an insight rather than just the name of the data that was in the chart. There are some cons to this, really just one, I think a major one, which is, unlike the more kind of conventional approach, there's no headline, right? So I do have to read these annotations here. And so it might, be take slightly longer for the reader to see, well, what is the key insight in this chart? But I am kind of on the fence. I can see pros and cons of both. And so I'd love to know what you think. Do you have a preference in terms of putting the key insights of the chart in the title or in annotations? And so do let me know in the comments. These are the kinds of topics that I talk about in my practical charts course. If you're watching this video before June 2025, happily I'll be delivering that course live online starting on June 2nd. If you want more information about that workshop, you can go to my website, practicalreporting.com. Thanks very much for watching.